Good morning, everybody. Today I will present a research that I did a few years back and that I think could be one of the ways to approach the development of theater and drama in the Three Seas region or in Central and Eastern Europe. It is a case study of several plays that were clearly influenced by in-your-face theater that spread from the United Kingdom in the 1990s and developed a new way of theater writing all over Europe in the beginning of the 21st century. As we know, the genre was first described at the end of the 1990s by Alex Siertz in his book In-Your-Face Theater, British Drama Today, that was published in 2001. It was translated in Slovenian in 2004 and published as a first translation of this book into a foreign language. Soon it influenced playwriting in other parts of Europe. The latter was named as New Drama in the Central and Eastern Europe and presented on several theater festivals. I think that the situation is well summarized by a Polish author, Dorota Masłowska, in her interview with Jacek Cislak. She says, "When I started writing for the theater, I realized that a good performance has a stronger impact than any other artistic object. It shakes the mind and heart. I loved it as a writer and as a spectator." This genre, that was based on explicit scenes of different types of violence, radical sexual practices and proximity between actors and spectators, became the forum that drew young audiences to theater. It was also the forum in which Central European playwriting commented on the period of post-socialist transition. My research questions thus are: what is in-your-face theater like in Central Europe? What does it have in common with its Western form? What are the specificities that are common to this genre in the Central and Eastern Europe? I will try to answer those questions by analyzing three plays by authors from Hungary, Slovenia, and Poland that share a common theme of post-socialist reality and social criticism. Those are The Dust by George Spiro, written in 2005, At the Bottom, written by Vinko Medrendorfer, a Slovenian author, in 2006, and Między nami dobrze jest, All is Right Between Us by Dorota Masłowska, written in 2008. Okay. No? So let's get to it. George Spiro got the idea for The Dust in the year 2000 on a train ride when he was talking to his wife about how she would feel if she won on the lottery. He wrote a play about this 5 years later, which premiered on the 29th of April 2007 at the Radnoti Theatre in Budapest. The play has two dramatis personae, named simply a man and a woman. The man returns from work and tells the woman that he has hit the jackpot in the lotteries, an unimaginable 600 million, which will help them change their miserable lives. But the news does not bring happiness and reassurance, but it triggers a whole range of fears and aggression. Here are some quotes to give you the impression. So their dialogue is getting more and more aggressive. They're more and more suspicious of money. They're afraid of being corrupt, of their lives even deteriorating. And at the end, they cannot stand this possibility of wealth and good fortune. So they burn the ticket. So as we can see, the play acts on the receiver's emotions, escalating them to the extreme. But it does not only represent the intimate sphere of the dramatis personae and their interpersonal relationships, but also the broader social reality against the backdrop of their story. Thus, through their story, a strong social critique of the current situation is realized. Moreover, it is a question of national identity, of Hungarians not being able to imagine the happiness or worryless life, which seems unchangeable and therefore even more tragic. Okay, I have some photos here of the performance that was held in the National Theatre in Ljubljana, just to give you the impression on how it was done. Interestingly enough, it was directed by Vinko Meederendorfer, the author I will speak about in a minute. And you will see when we go through that from this intimate scene between a man and a woman, this scene from this happiness and surprise that they won the lottery becomes more and more aggressive. Just continue. Go on. So they are torturing each other over the prospects of good fortune and the fears of what might happen if they lose the ticket, if they cash it in and they don't know what to do with the money, and so on and so forth. Okay. So let's go on. The second play I'll talk about is named At the Bottom, and it's written by Vinko Meederendorfer, who is also a theater director. Okay. Yes. Yes. It was written in 2006, nominated for the Groom Award, which is an award for the best theater play of the year. However, never performed on stage. It's interesting. It's a paraphrase of Maxim Gorky's play from 1902. It is based on, of course, showing the social segregation and poverty of a marginalized groups of people in capitalism. The author himself introduces it in the following way. The play combines poetic language with a distinctly realistic atmosphere. The combination of poetry and a kind of theatrical naturalism is meant to create a comic distance, which, however, does not make the play any less harsh, any less rough, perhaps even more so. It is this mixture of poeticism and extremely realistic description of reality that we can observe also as the defining characteristic of in-your-face theater. The latter does not use it to create comic distance, but Meederendorfer is also concerned with making the play sharp and rough. It is a play about a family living in utmost poverty in a basement where they eat rats and what they find in the garbage. They decide to kidnap King Marko, a name of mythological Slovene figure, who will, of course, save the Slovenian nation, a son of a wealthy capitalist, in order to make the society aware of their existence. They cut his finger off and mail it to his father with a demand for a ransom, but nothing happens. The police does not come, Marko's father does not give a damn about his son, so they are stuck with their miserable existence. The people at the bottom, who, unlike the couple in the dust, are not completely passive, but actively seeking a better life, are thwarted in their struggle, ignored because of their social position. It is precisely this powerlessness and self-sufficiency of the upper classes that triggers a resistance in the reader and a desire for a fairer society with genuine interpersonal relations. Violence and greed permeate both the world of the bottom and the relationships between the two birds. This leads to the kidnapping, the failed rape, and the cutting of a finger. However, this violence is set in an only half-real world and therefore loses some of its edge. Again, we can conclude that the text escalates the tension throughout and manipulates the viewer's emotions, but it is primarily concerned with depicting society and social relations, thus establishing a strong social critical point. The third and the last play I will talk about is the Dorota Masłowska, Między nami dobrze jest, that was written in 2008. Her first play, Two Poor Romanians, was written presumably without external influence. All Is Right Between Us, which is discussed here, was commissioned by Thomas Ostermeier in 2008 for Berlin's Schaubühne am Lehniner Platz and its international festival of new drama that was held under the title Digging Deep and Getting Dirty. So Dorota Moslowska was immediately recognized as one of the authors of in-your-face theater, or if you want, of new drama. So the plays that were highly influenced by the in-your-face theater. The play is about the identity of individuals in the modern world, but it is also about the national identity of Poles at the beginning of the 21st century. The plot revolves around three women of three generations. An old woman in a wheelchair, that's the grandmother, Halina, the mother, and little metal girl, the teenager, her daughter, living in a social housing and extreme poverty. This world is further contrasted by representatives of the new elite, or upper classes, represented by the actor Edita and Monica. The latter live by the dictate of money and consumerism. They are completely shallow, without compassion, and utterly dissatisfied. You will see again. Go on. Here. Oh, yes. You will again see some citations from the play that gives this idea how it is put together. At the end, one realizes that all has been just a phantasm. The old lady was killed in the Second World War, thus Halina and little metal girl probably do not exist. The play reflects cruelty and aggression. This aggression is manifested between the members of both worlds, and even more acutely between the modern society of progress, consumerism, and the individual. Some people cannot afford anything and are therefore completely marginalized. Others follow the dictates of the modern world and lose themselves completely. This is a radical social critique, which is realized through the escalation of tension and playing with the emotions of the readers or viewers. I think one of the best examples is Monica's lines here, when she says, "It happened to me several times that after a whole day spent in a monotonous way, not eating, not drinking, and then not peeing or not pooping, I just collapsed on the sofa in the Photoshop, and I didn't have the strength to go home because I was so tired, I forgot that I didn't have a home, that I didn't even exist." So basically, you know, people with their identity living in a fantasy world of a Photoshop and dictates of consumerism. Again, we have some photos, and if we have time, maybe we could just skim through them. It was again staged on a small stage of the Slovenian National Theatre drama in Ljubljana, which is a small hall which ensures the proximity between the actors and spectators. So it was a very powerful production. Okay. To conclude, at the beginning of the 21st century, when it was in-your-face theater that offered a new form of dramatic writing capable of responding to the challenges of contemporary society, Central Europe is dealing with the disillusionment of the transition to capitalism. What seemed like the fulfillment of decades of aspirations, the liberation of the individual to develop his or her full potential, has become a harsh reality in which the masses are marginalized while the rest are lost in new ideology of consumerism and spiritual emptiness. What in the UK appears as a critique of interpersonal relationships sexuality, etc., in Central and Eastern Europe is reframed as a critique of the relationship between the individual and wider society. This gives the drama a distinctly social critical flavor. However, not in the sense of trying to produce new social ideologies, since the authors are traditionally suspicious of them, but by painting an extreme social dystopia. The latter is constantly escalating, thus escalating the reader's or viewer's emotional response, in order to make them reflect upon their values. This can be a reflection on the nature or national characters in this region, when one makes happiness impossible for oneself, like in the dust, the marginalization of the impoverished, like at the bottom, or even a complete aversion to the concept of national identity, as in Maslow's all is right between us. Thank you.